I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with Michelle Dutch. She is an author who is celebrated for her evocative prose and complex characters. She unveils a new pinnacle in her storytelling journey with her book, Mary McKenzie. This is a riveting novel that weaves a tale of personal discovery, loss, and redemption, encapsulating the poignant nuances of human life through the experiences of its heroine. We are delighted to have Michelle join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the folks at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Michelle, so good to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me, Logan. It's really an honor. I'm just thrilled to be here talking to you today.
Well, I'm delighted to be speaking with you as well. You have come up with quite a book and quite a memorable character in Mary McKenzie. So it begs the question, are you a little bit like Mary? Is Mary a little bit like you? Is she exactly like you? Tell me a little bit about the merging of personas there.
I'm pretty sure that there's a good part of myself into Mary, but I'm one of those writers that takes a little bit of everything that is interesting to me. So I'd say probably there's about 50% Mary, or where I see her going, and then about 50% of outside influences.
Gotcha. Let's give the folks at home the big picture. Tell us what the story is about.
This is the beginning of a 13-book series. Okay, so this is the first one, and this is the epiphany, or she's kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes. At the very beginning of the book is when she is at kind of the pinnacle of her career, and she is attacked by a serial killer, and actually becomes healed, and then comes back out and starts writing again. And so the action starts the minute that she goes out to try and start doing her book signings, and to get close back to her fan base, which is just an absolute rabid fan base because she's been writing for so long. And so she really is kind of like the poster girl for you get knocked down and you get back up and you just come up swinging. So that's part of the reason that I really love her, is that she just continues to go after what she really wants.
Wonderful. Tenacious in no small part, that's for sure. Tell me a little bit about the 13 books. Have you written them? Have you planned to write them? Tell me about that.
Absolutely. The second book is in production with my publisher, Austin Macaulay, in the UK. So Broken Dolls, which is the second book, should hopefully, we're looking December, maybe early spring of next year. I've already written the third book, Sacrifice, and I'm working on the fourth book right now, which is called Beneath the Trees. So I actually do have plans for all 13 books. As a matter of fact, the other day I started writing the very ending to the 13th book, and wow. I love the piece, and I love to write. So it's just been a real joy to do this series.
Oh, I'm sure it's like living in that world, and it's quite a world you have created. Have you visualized these as a TV series or a movie, perhaps?
Absolutely. I started out life as a script writer. That's as a matter of fact, that was the very first format that I started writing in back when I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. I had a really good friend, and we lived close together, and then we moved from she was in Northern California, I was in Southern California. So basically we started writing scripts for our favorite television show, and we'd pass them back and forth to one another. So I'm used to writing dialogue, I'm used to writing script, and have written several plays and other things like this. So I absolutely can visualize this as a series, either on television or as a movie base. I really enjoy the action of it. I can really visually see what's going on, especially the ending, and I really would enjoy moving that forward.
So let's talk about casting. Who would play Mary McKenzie?
Oh, that's a tough one, because she's very beautiful and everything else, but she also has a vulnerability, or a side to her because of what had happened to her. That would be a tough one.
How about Jennifer Lawrence?
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's got a big personality. I think that she could bring the role to life, don't you?
I definitely do. I definitely do.
And she's not bad to look at either. So
Oh
if you
no,
need your
that doesn't hurt
heroine to have to be a beauty, she could fit that role. Absolutely. She could stretch and try to fit that role. Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely. Yeah, well, it's fun to think about things like that. It'd be so much fun to see your book come to life. It has a life of its own, and it's received a lot of high praise for its realistic portrayal of human emotions and relationships. Tell us a little bit about how you create such relatable characteristics in your characters.
I think that's pretty much through my life. I worked as an actress for the first 25, 30 years of my life. And so I'm used to really observing relationships because that's part of the craft is learning to observe things that are going on around you. I'm very blessed that I have a very large family. I have 25 female cousins. We all used to get together all the time. Everybody has a different personality. Everybody comes from a different background. So I really enjoy the idea of character study with people. I see when I'm creating characters, I'm taking a little piece of this and a little piece of that, that kind of creates a person that I'd really like to either know or have a relationship with, that kind of deal. I started writing the book at the beginning of COVID because even though I work for a lab company, we continued to work all the way through COVID. But we had a lot of downtime, and I was working with younger people,
Right.
a bunch of kids. And so I would write and I'd bring it in and we'd talk about it and they'd read through the story. And so it was really fun to get their reaction. When they first met me or perceived me, they thought I was all about that job and didn't see any part of the creative part of me. Right. And so when I started bringing in the pages and the chapters and everything, it got to the point where they'd come into work and say, "Do you have something new for us today?"
That's great. That's high praise. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't gotten any negative feedback on the book, so that's been really wonderful. In the beginning, when you put your work out there, and you're willing to take constructive criticism of other things like that. Basically, I wrote a book I'd want to read.
Right.
I wrote something that was going to go fast paced, would surprise you. There are pieces of the puzzle of our bad guy all the way through all 13 books. So he's not just in the first book, he's in all of the books.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. It's nice to have a recurring character like that. And when you're dealing with serial killers, it kind of just like is such a chilling effect on things, don't you think, when you think of somebody who has like such a lack of humanity?
Absolutely. I did a lot of research before I got into that part of it. I took some of the books that the FBI profilers use and bought those and read through them, and also some of the new books and papers that have been written like within the last 4 to 5 years regarding serial killers. And I think the whole understanding of them as bad guys.
Yeah.
Be careful about what I say here. But just understanding that and how we're approaching that today, I wanted to be honest and correct and accurate in my writing. I didn't want to go off ideas people had in television shows that are not necessarily accurate of how the FBI works or how they actually do profiling, but also how they've been studying serial killers and this. I was living with my brother at the time, and so I was watching a lot of documentaries, and I was watching, all the information that I could possibly get in there. Right. And my brother would go and hide in his room. I was watching all of these things. He goes, this is really creepy. And I said, well, yeah, I get it, but I need to be accurate in what I'm writing. So.
Right. Yeah, you can give yourself the willies doing research on stuff like that. It's like watching The Exorcist. You're afraid that it's going to be real. I had the pleasure of working with David Fincher on Mindhunter, which is all about serial killers. So that was quite an experience, and working with him was incredible because he's such a encyclopedic person. But this book, David, if you're watching, would be wonderful. So if you're interested in serial killers, David Fincher, keep an eye out for Mary McKenzie. So there's your little plug to David Fincher. So hopefully he's listening. Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your writing process. Do you get up every morning and write? What do you do?
Well, in all honesty, right at this particular moment in time, I'm still working a 40 to 50-hour week. So I have to
Right.
write whenever I possibly can. A lot of times that's nights, weekends, mornings.
Right.
I have a trail of post-it notes that follow me wherever I go. Um, I kind of get a little anxious right before I sit down, and I'll sit down and just write. It's a free-flowing process for me. I'm not one of the writers who, here's my outline and here's my chapter, that kind of stuff. That's never really worked for me. I know how to do it,
Right.
but I write a lot easier than I have to do when I have to write a synopsis or an
Right.
outline. When you're submitting to various agents and other things like that, you have to be able to do that uniform part of it, and I'm still working
Right.
on it.
Yeah, that
Most of
is
the
challenging.
time.
Writing the queries, writing the synopsis, writing the log line, writing all of those things. That's the drudgery of the creative process. The fun is living inside Mary McKenzie's head when she's having these adventures. Well, you've done a wonderful job with this book, Michelle. We wish you a lot of luck. The name of the book again is Mary McKenzie. It is the beginning of a series. It is one of 13 parts. The other 4 are nearing completion and in various phases of production. We're going to be hearing a lot from Michelle Dutch, no doubt, because this is a sensational book. Michelle, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. I really appreciate the time, and good luck with everything that's going on. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you as well. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.